Hey y'all, I'm James Wright. Welcome to my shop. This is the Stanley number 78 Duplex Rabbeting plane, or metal body Philister plane, or in this case it's actually, that's a Miller's Falls 85. I don't own a Stanley 78. This is going to be an interesting video. Yes, this is a Miller's Falls 85, and it's exactly the same as a 78, to the point that almost all of the screws on this are the exact same. It's the same dimensions, the same size, the same everything. It is designed to put a rabbet, or a rebate, into the edge of a board. It has a fence that determines how far onto the board it goes, and has a depth stop to determine how deep down it cuts. But it also has a little secret hiding down underneath here. That is a spur, or a moving nicker. And now I can use it to cut rabbets on the end of a board across the grain. Cutting a rabbet that goes across the grain is called a Philister. Yeah, I know to most people, if you cut a rabbet on the side, it's the same as if you cut a rabbet on here. But a lot of the English still hold to the old style, which there was a different name for each one. Just like when you cut grooves across the grain, they become dados. But if you cut them with the grain, then it's a groove. And that's why this thing is called a moving Philister plane, because it has this blade on the side that will allow this to cut Philisters across the grain. But wait, most companies called this a Duplex Rabbeting plane, not a moving Philister plane. And that's because the blade can go here or it can go up here. So there's two spots. In other words, it's a duplex. The cool thing with this is I can loosen up this, slide it off, pull out the iron, move the iron forward, then I can put the lever cap back onto this one, lock it down in, and now I've got a new position for it to be over here. Oh no! The depth adjuster is back here. There's no depth adjuster there. What should I do? Yep, that means the front position is completely hammer adjusted. Which I know, about half of you out there just suddenly turned this video off because the idea of hammer adjusting is just way too much work. But I have to say, it's really not a problem for this because you don't use the front slot much. This I've only used once in the 10 years or so I've had this plane. Most of the time, I just keep it on the back one. I almost never use the front. And for that one or two times, then a little bit of hammer adjusting really isn't that much of a problem. But wait, I didn't answer the question. Why are there two positions? The main position back here is actually about the same distance from the nose as your standard everyday plane. From the nose to where the blade is almost the exact same. That's really common for a plane. You want a little bit of surface up here so you can register when you're starting a board. So why would I want something really close up to the front? And just so you know, that front position with just that little bit up there is called a bullnose. It's on a bunch of different styles, but in a duplex you have the regular as well as the bullnose. And the reason for that is, what if you want a stopped rabbet? That's right, a rabbet that's not allowed to procreate. A stopped rabbet is a rabbet that comes along and hits a stop. And the end is easy. You can just put a chisel in here and you can chop it down and then pare out from a little ways back to get yourself down close to it. And now you've got this little notch you can work with. And that notch is just enough for this little bull nose to fit into. As to the hammer adjustment on this, it's relatively simple. We just loosen this up, and I'm actually going to set my iron with it backed up just a little bit. I like to place my iron flush to the outside. Some people will tell you it should be about a paper thickness past the outside, but I like it to be right on the outside, nice and smooth and flush. Just whatever you do, make sure that the iron is not inside. You want it to be cutting all the way to that outside corner. Then with that in place, I put my finger right on the tip and tap it forward until it's getting really, really close. And a rabbet plane is nice because it can take a little heavier cut. You're not looking for crazy wispy shavings. I'm just going to move it back and forth and very, very lightly tapping it until it catches. Ooh, just caught there. So now I'm taking a very, very light shaving. And that might be enough. Just that little light shaving gives you an easy push. But most of the time I want a little bit more, so I'm just going to give it one light tap and then crank it down. And that is where I want it to be. And then with that hammer adjustment, I can get it really close to where I want and get those shavings that I'm looking for. With the primary position, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I want it to be flush to the outside, maybe sticking out just a hair. And then I'm going to be backing it off so I'm not taking any shaving. But in this case, rather than the hammer, I just have this lever that I'm going to be pushing up as I'm moving forward. And so I'm just going to go back and forth until it just starts to engage. And there, now I'm getting slight wisps, just a little bit more. And that's the setting I'm looking for. except for it's on the main position, so it runs into that stop all the way back there. Also, you notice in the main position, I stick my thumb inside here and hold onto the fence rod, and I use that as a front grip. It makes it very comfortable for planing along the surface of the board. It's a little less comfortable with the bull nose. There's nothing to hold on to, so you're kind of awkwardly grabbing the plane in different ways. The nice thing about the 78 is it's kind of like the halfway house to the combination plane. If you can set up one of these, then you have all the skills needed to set up one of these. It's just to do this, you've got to do more little bits of setup to make this work. I've got a bunch of wooden body rabbeting planes and this moving philister, which works out really, really nicely. But most of the time when I need to make a rabbet, I grab one of these. It works. It does it very, very well, and I've got the adjustability that if I need to do a stopped rabbet, I can move it up front. The only downside to them is they're almost always missing either the depth stop or the fence. And in my case, I have the wrong depth stop on mine. This one is for a Stanley, and I don't have the original one for this body. When I originally got this one, it actually had a hex screw in here, and I've since found the right thumb screw that's exactly what I want. But I'm still looking for that depth stop. One of these days I'll get one of those. It is actually kind of hard to find one of these that has both. And the reason is, most good woodworkers who knew what they were doing took them off, because you can even use these free-handed. When you're talking about how far in you go, you actually don't need to worry about it, because once you get it started, you've got a ledge you just push against, and that will do all the work for you. When you are getting it started, you just stick your fingers underneath and use those like a fence, or you just kind of work it in from the tip, and you follow in a marking gauge line and slowly work it down until you get a nice edge. You don't need the fence to get this exactly where you want it. And for a depth stop, you don't really need that, because most of the time you're just going to draw a line on your board, and you keep going until you hit that line, and you know you're at depth. So you don't need the fence and depth stop. So most woodworkers ended up getting rid of them. And if you are missing the fence and depth stop, you can turn one of these into a scrub plane. Yeah, the price on the Stanley number 40 has gone through the roof. These are well over $100 a piece for the antiques, and it's a really dumb, simple piece of work. Paul Sellers has kind of made these famous because you can do the exact same thing with this. You take off the fence and depth stop, you put a little bit of a camber on the iron, and you've got a scrub plane. And because you didn't need the fence and depth stop, you can pick one of these up for 30 or 40 bucks. Does the exact same thing and does it really, really well. So yet another use, because they're just really useful all around. The Stanley 78 or the Miller's Falls 85 are phenomenal tools that do amazing work, and I honestly use this all the time. I grab it more than I grab my moving philister or any other of my wooden planes, because this works well, it does it efficiently, and it actually is really fun to use. So I usually end up grabbing one of these. And if you found this video to grab you, then throw a like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Yes, thank you. And if you do have any questions, thoughts, ideas, or snide remarks, you know what to do. Down below. It does help with the channel. I know I say it every time, but really, thank you. And anytime you do put questions down there, I do read through all of them and I answer as many of them as I can get to. So thank you for that. But if you really want to help out the channel, there's a bunch of names over there. Those are some of the fantastic, wonderful, benevolent, gorgeous people over on Patreon. And they're the ones that make this channel happen, because without Patreons, Wood by Wright would not exist. You guys support this channel. You make it happen. You are the sponsors, not some mattress company. So thank you, and that really means a lot. So if you'd like to find out more about that, you know what to do, links down below. I think that'll do it for now, and until next time, have a wonderful day. The Stanley 78 Duplex Bunny Plane. What are you talking about? I do have a hair on my head.